Ladies and gentlemen, we got Ice the One in the building from Toronto.
Oh,
Let's go.
Osberg, bro, what up?
Let's go. Let's go. You ready to do this?
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Bachelor. If you know, then you know. Come on.
Live on Behind the Sound, baby.
Hey.
Yeah.
Girl, I live alone. Said ain't no interruptions cause I live alone. Getting freaky on the couch, I live alone. I can hit it in the kitchen, yeah. Don't need to worry about your mama or your auntie or your cousin or your brother. We get up to something, ain't no repercussions. Grown and sexy. You think I'm frontin', creeping on a late night. Anytime and some bluffing on the balcony. Ain't nothing when you with a G. In the shower or the chair, I can take you there, have no fear. When you at my crib, I'ma turn it out, have you doing splits. G, come through in the late night, it be on sight. Moon in the sky, yeah, be shining bright. I'ma put it on you, make you change your life. Have you making plans, trying to make me wild.
But I don't live alone. Got plenty interruptions, I don't live alone. Getting freaky on the couch, I don't live alone. I got a car seat in the back, I don't live alone. Yo, I don't live alone, so we can get down in the kitchen. Our kids are home, keeping it low for the chillin' supervision on. I know each and every crevice, I study you for decades. I eat you for breakfast, got my feelings on. I'm proper ready for some cardio behind the sound. And nice the one with the audio, my body go. Bump with the beat on a dotted hole, a quarter note. That's too obvious, I don't want it, bro. Got me doing the splits, huh? Impossible. Got that New York life, you want me to trade spots with you. Find me in the booth, I'ma teach you a lesson. Followed by an all-night detention, you gon' get it, girl.
Tell me how you want it. Fantasies, ain't no limit, come on over. On the floor, the counter, get up on it. Confidential, boo, don't worry about nothing, yeah. Girl, I live alone. Said ain't no interruptions cause I live alone. Getting freaky on the couch, I live alone. I can hit it in the kitchen. One more again, say what? I live alone. Said ain't no interruptions, I live alone. Getting freaky on the couch, I live alone. I can hit it in the kitchen, yeah, yeah. So I live alone. Stay east side, what it is, the general. Yeah, let's go. Run it. Moss Park Borough, what up?
Ice the One is the one, y'all.
My guy.
Yeah. That was fire. Tell me about this track. Where did this track come from?
I mean, to be honest, of course, we always speak from our own experiences. So, a lot of times you might be talking to a shorty and they be like, you live alone type of thing.
Yeah.
And more times, if you say that, it was kind of like a joke between the homies where it was like, if you live alone, the look on shorty's face would kind of switch up a little bit sometimes. Like, oh, you live alone. Okay, like I can really free up and get on my freak shit. I ain't gotta worry about your mom sleeping next door. I ain't gotta worry about.
Yeah, we don't gotta keep it quiet.
Right? We gotta keep it quiet. We can. So it was one of those ones chopping it up with the homie Tion Gibbs, who's on it, Tona, and Bombay on the beat, and Octavio Santos on the horns. But yeah, it was just, so that's how it started. So it was just like kind of my take on conversating, where it's like, yeah, you can come free up, live your best life, let it do what it do for the grown and sexy. I'm Aquarius, so we're gonna talk the things. It is what it is. But yeah, if you know, you know. And if you don't live alone, it's all good too, because we get in where you fit in, as my guy showed you. So
let's go.
I appreciate the remix vibes, fam.
Of course, I had to. I mean, I had to speak from the heart because I don't live alone. There's literally plenty interruptions. The kids are sleeping. We can smash, but we're gonna keep it. Be quiet.
It cute. Yeah, we gotta
be
keep it
quiet.
cute.
You gotta chill.
Keep it neat. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But the track is a banger. I really, when you sent it to me, that was my initial take on it. Was like, man, I don't live alone though. In my 20s, I could have spoken to the shit out of this.
You know, that was my life. I lived alone. My parents moved away from me. They went to the Philippines when I was like 18.
Crazy.
So my house was the spot and I lived alone. And there was always people coming through. So I'm like, well, but it was such a banger, you know, when that verse comes in and the drums are just fucking it's just like, yo, I got me writing to it. I'm like, so let me just keep it real and spit from where I'm at, and I don't live alone, and like, I think it works. So I appreciate you letting me jump on this track with you. It's a banger.
No, thanks for blessing it. Because everyone resonates differently, right? Some
100%.
people live at home, some people don't, but
yeah,
to each their own. You gonna get it in the way you feel. So, you know, it's just, but I think it's just one of those ones where we just want to have fun with it. Something you could bop to, something you could just, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Listen, off camera, we were talking a little bit about you've been doing this full time now for 10 years. Was there a moment in, you know, you've got a youth work background, community focused background, where you were like, I have to do this. I need to do this full time. Was there a moment that culminated in something that made you pull the trigger on doing music full time? And what was the hardest thing? Like, what did you have to consider at that time? What were the biggest challenges in making that happen?
I think, you know, it comes down to just following your heart. You know, there's lots of things that I enjoy doing, but having music as like a side thing or like a, you know, a secondary thing is cool to a certain extent, but I feel like at times you can't really deny the voice you hear in the back of your head and your mind being like, it's pulling you towards pouring yourself into your craft.
Yeah.
You know, that we all do the 1 foot in, 1 foot out times in our lives, you know what I mean? But certain things are constant. Your love for music, your love for expression, and it was always my outlet regardless. So for me, it was just doubling down pretty much on myself, on my passion, on my drive, because there was really no other way. Honestly, I just felt like in my spirit, that's just kind of where I felt like I hit a crossroad. And it was kind of like either it's all in or it's just, there was no other, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when you know in your soul, sometimes you just know, you know? So for me anyways, in my experience.
And that's a hard road, you know, what you've chosen to do full time, whether it's music or your own business. That's a hard road, and it's a big risk that not many take. And so I applaud you, first and foremost, to be able to do that and to be able to do it for 10 years, because like we were talking about, most businesses don't last 10 years. You know, 90% of businesses, and you are a business, you as an artist are definitely a business. So to be able to do that for 10 years is a blessing. Do what you love and focus on your passion. Now, on the flip side of that coin, was there a moment into those 10 years where you were like, this is why, you know what I mean? Like, thank God that I jumped in full time. This is the opportunity that I wanted. This is the meeting that happened. Like, was there a moment like that where you realized you had made the right decision?
I think it was for me feeling more at peace internally. Like, it wasn't necessarily any external things, even though those things are nice, the validation, the goals that you reach. But I think it was kind of just like quenching that hunger, where it was like, I didn't feel like that voice in the back of my head being like, yo, like, your time or a majority of your time should be, you know what I mean, doing what you love, but also finding for you what pushes you to get up every morning, what, you know what I mean, kind of what's your purpose, what's my intentionality as I move through the world. And time's not forever. Like, you know, there's a lot of homies that aren't here with us today. So I'm also just grateful to, one, be able to, I mean, they live vicariously through us regardless, but tomorrow's not promised. So it's also for me losing a lot of people close to me that was like, we could be on borrowed time as well. So it's like, I'm trying to be present as possible and live in the moment as much as I can. So that was a big piece as well.
I love that. And we talk about time, you know, we're older these days. We are not as patient, and not as patient myself anyways, and don't have the same amount of time that we used to. But it's almost like what you had mentioned off camera. It's like, you know, you just start getting into your stride. You think at this age right now, and I'll be real with you guys, I did not believe she was the age that she was. We don't need to say
Ladies don't disclose their age.
We're not going to say on camera right now, but I legit said, and I kept it 100 with her, I'm like, yo, for a white girl, that's crazy. And she let me know. She put me onto game right away. It's like, I'm Italian, bitch. I'm like, okay.
East Coast Italian, what up?
Yeah, there we go. But like, you know, getting into the age that we are now, you asked our 18-year-old selves, you're like, that's fucking old. But it's like you're just getting into your stride. And I feel like listening to your music as an artist, you've really found your stride as well. How has like your music progressed into this record and this album that you've got out right now?
I mean, it was definitely like a natural progression. Like we were talking about earlier, like every project, every body of work is almost like a time capsule of your life, right? Which is dope because when you look back, it's like those memories, those moments are forever in time, right? Especially when you make timeless music and you're just making music from your heart. You're not chasing trends. You're not chasing this and that. It's authentically you.
So true.
Right? Because you can feel the genuine, you know what I mean? Through music, no matter what type of music or what genre of music.
People smell that shit right away. Yeah.
Right? Even when you're talking from your own experience or when you're penning your own things too, right? And I feel like in this industry, in this business, a lot of people try and kind of put you in boxes, right? Like, oh, you sing, oh, you rap, oh, this genre, that genre. But for me, it's like, and this may sound like, you know, something that people say, but it's true. Like staying true to yourself, staying true to who you are, because people will always try and sway you. Oh, you should, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're outside the box, right?
Yeah.
Whether how you look, how you act, where you come from, people always judge a book by its cover. So I think for me, it was just kind of, it's always a balance of rapping, singing, you know, and some albums are more jazzy, more dancey, more hip hop. I feel like this was kind of a culmination of everything in working with Bombay as well on the production side, and just everyone who was part of this project. I feel like it was just a natural evolution of our growth, you know, in terms of the squad, in terms of the people I have around me and all my day ones, everything coming to where we're at now. And I think just hitting a stride too, right? Because you become more comfortable in your skin. You become, like we were saying earlier, just more yourself, right?
Yeah.
More grounded, more anchored in your craft and you know, just speaking what's on your heart, speaking what's on your mind. So yeah, that was really the process.
It feels really mature. Like it feels like a sound that has come from an evolution of things. You can hear the jazz influence. You can hear all the different influence of the different people who have worked on the record, to the drums, to the horns, to your vocals, from that sing-songy shit to the rapping shit. You just really feel all of those elements. And I agree. I think when you create something like that is, you know, for you, that starts for you and is really about what you're going through and what you're experiencing, the audience will find you. You know, the right people that it resonates with will find you, and that's timeless. I think the moment you start thinking about, well, who is this for? Who am I going to make this for? Who do I want to hear this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't really want to hear it. But a record like this is timeless. And I find even some of my old stuff from 20 years ago, even though it's not really stuff I would rap about now, I feel that 19-year-old in me, and it's still very real. You know what I mean?
And I talking from your heart.
Yeah. So even though that's not me, I'm a very different man. I think it would still engage with a particular audience. Maybe not my audience right now, but I can never deny that I didn't speak from the heart, and it was kind of, I made what I needed to make at that time. I love this record though.
Oh, I appreciate you.
It's dope.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's a banger. What's the next thing? What are you working on? You're here in town right now doing a live performance for a jazz night at the Common.
Yep.
Shout out to Justin and the crew over at the Common.
Yep. B-Boye and all them. Yeah, that was dope. Playing with the live band. Everyone in that band is crazy fire. It was a really good time. Just connecting, you know, sessions, video stuff while I'm here. It's never long enough. Like I said, I definitely need to circle back. But right now, just wrapping the Swerve tape, which is another project coming out very soon with Bombay as well. Kind of like still in the R&B hip hop bag, but definitely taking y'all on a ride to the east side. You know what I mean?
Dope.
Like, and then there's another full length album coming 2026. Got some stuff in the works with Junes as well.
Let's go.
Another
Junior
album.
T. Shout out to
Yep.
Junior T, baby. He's new in my life. He's an OG for you, but I just met him and was just been blessed by his talent and skills. So that's a new relationship for me, and just like super grateful that Arlo brought him through as well. Because, man, shout out to Junior T.
Yeah, shout out Arlo too. That's the homie, yeah.
Of course. I shout out Arlo, I feel like, on every episode of this shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so yeah, definitely a lot of things in the works. You know, it's always part of the evolution, but I feel I'm definitely excited about these new projects, as I feel like each are in their own, you know what I mean, bag of where I was mentally when I wrote it, when we produced it, when we... So yeah, exciting. I feel like that part, you know, performing, all the like... This stuff is like the fun stuff to me too. Like not being in the studio is also fun, but I feel like we're in our own, you know what I mean, hunkered down, just like going. I feel like it comes into fruition when you're actually expressing it live, and when you're, you know what I mean, doing like, because we're performing, right? Like, so it's also the fun part of it too. Like being in the lab, I feel like is a different side of it, which I also, you know what I mean, love as well, but it's a different aspect. So this part is also just always fun to me as well. You know?
Well, because you're right, they're very different. You know, they're completely different muscles, recording over and over, doing a take 50 times, 100 times in the booth to get it the way you want, versus you got one fucking shot on stage, right? It is what it is. You fuck up, you fuck up. You got to keep going and cover that shit up. The show must go on. So what is the difference between those two? Did you find love in one or the other first? And do you feel you're stronger in one or the other, or vice versa? Like, how would you describe those two worlds?
For me, I think they kind of go hand in hand, honestly. I feel like I came from more of a freestyle, like spoken word kind of vibe. Like when I was coming up, everything was kind of like, you know, on the street corner doing our thing, like rapping, singing, whatever. So I feel like it goes hand in hand, like in my opinion and from my experience. Just, you know, in the studio, like you said, it's getting things, well, I was going to say perfectionist, but you know.
Yeah, but it
right?
is.
Like it is,
because you
right?
hear every little mistake, you hear
especially
every
with their own vocals, right?
We'll be our own worst critic.
Totally. And you can go down the rabbit hole. So I feel like it's finding that balance of knowing to be like, okay, this is at a place where I feel comfortable or where it sits well for me.
Yeah.
Because of course you could tweak something forever and
forever,
day, right?
Forever.
Right.
And I'll just drop something and I'll hear like,
right?
You know, it's like,
yeah, you hear a couple of breaths and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, I could have turned those down a little bit, you know, like.
And no one else notices. You're just like,
nobody cares but you. Nobody cares, yeah.
And I think that comes from the 10,000 hours, right? It's just like practicing. Because to me in the studio, you're also always practicing your craft, right? You're pushing yourself to, and that's something I feel like the studio is really good for, is that getting out of your comfort zone, right? So we have our pockets, but that's part of why I like kind of messing with different genres always as well, because one, we came up listening to so many different genres of music, as we were saying before, but also like, you know, challenging yourself, right? Because doing the same thing is impossible. We're always changing. We're always growing, right? So the music is a reflection of that. So I think, you know, having those moments of pushing yourself in the studio to, you know, reach those plateaus and keep moving and keep going forward, but then also practicing that live, right? Because even when we were making this album, for a chunk of it, we were doing a residency, and I feel like we would cook up in the stew and then try a lot of the new stuff live. And so that's part of how we kind of chose the songs for this album and what would be on the album. Was okay, boom, we cooked up. A couple days later, we're performing it live. Whether it was perfect or not, we were just like, boom, okay,
that's dope. Yeah,
let's try it, right?
I love
and
that.
so watching the crowd's reaction, how it felt doing it live, because that's another thing too. You may record music, but it doesn't always translate live, depending on what the vibe is,
and
right?
vice versa.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you're also thinking about that when you're like, oh, I'm doing this jazz show, I'm doing this hip hop show, where that's why you kind of need those different bags of music to be able to, you know what I mean, be versatile in those environments. So I think they kind of balance each other, you know what I mean? Like in interesting ways. And also too, it's like some things, okay, may not work as well as others, but you're like, okay, this is better live. Okay, let's try this and this too. And it's kind of like a back and forth that I feel like works the best. Yeah. And it's always fun to perform new stuff too, right? Because you're like, okay, let's try it.
Totally. Yeah.
And then people's reaction, right? Because sometimes you're like, oh, this is a bop. Like I remember the first time we did this one on the fly, and you could, and just people's reaction was like, oh,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes you don't know, right?
No, exactly.
Sometimes you know, like you're like, okay, this one is a smash. But you know what? Even then, you might get surprised. You know, you might think something is a smash and it just doesn't land, it doesn't hit, or it's just not the same live. Yeah, I get that. But it's also something you don't really know until you've done a bunch of times. Right?
Yeah.
You don't really, until you've done 50 shows, it's tough to even know what your voice sounds like on stage. Like you figure a lot of that stuff out by trial and error. And then especially coming into the booth. But yeah, you kind of got to treat them as two different beasts, I think, right?
Yeah, and you're right. Like you said, it comes with just doing it. I think that's the thing. Like, you know, we can be our toughest critics and you know, but I think sometimes just throwing yourself into it and just doing it is sometimes how you learn anything, really, right? But especially when it's live music and that interaction with the crowd, and you find your voice more and more. Like you said, the more comfortable you get performing, right, the less, you know, your nerves just the whole thing just becomes like autopilot too. And that's, I feel like, when you can really get in your bag, because you're like, oh, okay, like this stuff, you know what I mean? This stuff, we've been in the bag, but it's like, okay, now how it's like putting more and more blocks, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, this stuff, now let's try it, like, you know what I mean? Like, whether it's with a live band like we did the other night, or it's a DJ, or it's sometimes on road too, you have to make, you know, concessions where it's like you may not be always able to take everyone you want to take with you. So, okay, how do we do this song with just a DJ and a horn, or right? Like, okay, we got a 5-piece band. Okay, how can we rock this? Like, even though sometimes it can be, you know, stressful because we're perfectionists, like we're saying, but it's also you enjoy it, right? Because it's like anything that you achieve or that you push yourself, when you push through it, and you're on the other side, you're like, oh, okay, like, there's gratification in that as well, right? Yeah,
and it's just that process, right? It's that, whether it's editing a song or editing a video, you know, you go through all of these pieces of the puzzle that you put together in a different way, and you try something different, and then you end up with this finished thing, and there's a sense of completion and satisfaction. And it's almost, you know, that for me, that window is so small. Right? It's like, fuck, okay, we got to this thing, boom, it's done. It's like, okay, great.
Right?
Now what's the next thing, right? Like it's, you know, and I think that's part of being a perfectionist, part of being an artist, or just an entrepreneur, business owner in general. It's always that constant grind. And if you don't love that process of getting to that, then you're doing the wrong thing, you know? So for me, it's like, I love that. Once I finally get down to the edit and I'm focused, I could sit there for 4 days and just 4 days gone, you know? And then the project is done. I watch the video. It's like, oh, that's so dope. And it's like, okay, well, now there's nothing left to work on, right? And you might come back and enjoy that finished piece, but it's like, it's that process.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think it's that passion, that hunger that drives us to do what we do. Because some people would say, y'all crazy. Like, it's not for everybody.
It ain't.
It's definitely
It ain't.
You got to have a thick skin, too. You have to just persevere, because, you know, I feel like a lot of things are stacked against you, especially in the current environment of the world, right? But like you said, it's the journey, right? They say the destination, that's cool. And there's milestones, and there's, you know, things that we want to work towards, but majority of it is the journey, right? Like if we're talking about time-wise,
exactly,
the journey takes up most of it. So it's also allowing yourself to smell the roses when you can, and you know, those wins with your squad and with your people, and just acknowledging that too, because I know sometimes we're like, go, okay, what's next, but also taking those moments to sit with that and take it in too, right? And be in a place of gratitude as well. As hard as things can be, we find the beauty in them as well. So
I took a page out of Junior T's book a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that we spent time just chatting when you arrived here, because we haven't met in person yet. We've been talking, you know, via Messenger, you know, DMs and stuff like that. And just the vibe I initially get, like, your sound is very mature, but I just feel like I want to tell you that you as an artist and as a person, as a human being, I feel how comfortable you are in your skin. I feel like how natural and authentic you are. You've got this super unique, dope look and vibe to you, but your sound is mature and your personality is mature. Now, I want to ask you, oftentimes that peace that you have comes from trauma and stuff that you've been able to work through. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share some of that. We've all been through some really hard things. Have there been moments in your life that have been traumatic for you as a human being, as an artist, as a woman, that have really forced you to grow into the skin that you are now as this artist sitting in front of that microphone right now? Are there moments like that you can describe, and how have you found your peace because you exude it?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think it's always an ongoing journey to be honest.
Of course, yeah.
As you know, yeah, it's always, life will always throw you curveballs. I feel like, especially when you're on the brink of like that next level.
Word.
Life will test you the most, I feel like, right? But I think part of it, and to be honest, a big part of music was kind of my salvation as a kid, like going through a lot of trauma and just, you know, through all of it, music was kind of my compass. Like creating was my salvation, really, my outlet to not get caught up in certain other things, which was, you know, not to say that I didn't, but it's just like, I think that helped kind of keep me from wavering too far either way. Same with sports as well. Like, you know, ball was always something too in my life. But
She's a baller, yo. She's a baller.
from keep you going mad sometimes, or really like, you know, going the other way. But I think sometimes in our darkest moments where you feel like there's no way out or things are not going to get better, it's just trying to really like find that light in yourself, right? And I think music expression helped me kind of pull myself out of that darkness, or different times where I went back into that, or just like trauma that we all experience, you know. And it's tough because it's not an easy process, and it's non-linear, right? Just like grief or all these loss, all these other things we go through. You know, sometimes it feels like you take a few steps and then a few steps, you know what I mean? So it's always, you know, a wave. But I think just being okay with yourself, right? Because a lot of times there's all this outside noise and distractions, and it's like at the end of the day we have to sit with ourselves, right? You wake up, you look in yourself in the mirror, you're not looking at anyone else. You got to pull yourself up every day and push yourself. So it's like, for me, it went back to self-love, because I think that's something, and me and Junes have talked about this a lot, like, you know, the self-worth, the self-love. People can look at somebody and think, oh, this person's got it all together and da-da-da-da, but it's like, that's work. That's constant self-reflection. That's constant, you know, unpacking trauma. And
Totally.
And for sure, I'm definitely nowhere perfect. I'm super flawed as a human as well. But I think just trying to always come from a place of that, right? Leading with love, you know, as much as you can, but that self-love, right? Because especially in this industry, in this business, people are going to come at you. People are going to try and tear you down. Life is just hard in general. So I think just whatever you can do for that self-care, mentally, physically, spiritually, pour into yourself. I know we pour, especially coming from community, we pour a lot.
I was gonna say, this is the youth worker in us. I can hear you preaching right now.
Right? Yeah. But it's like it's real talks, because we pour into a lot of people, and that's a good thing. But also sometimes our cup is empty, so we can't give when there's nothing to give, right? So I think burnout in this industry, a lot of industries, is real, but especially I feel like a lot of us creatives are empaths as well. So we soak in a lot of energy. We're around a lot of people. We have to give a lot of that. You know, that social battery sometimes is drained too. And the nature of what we do, we're literally pouring ourselves into the music. It comes from our heart and our soul. So if it's unbalanced, then it's going to be off kilter. So I think for me, that's something, you know, self-preservation that helped me kind of just stay focused, and also just having more mindfulness in general, because it affects the pen. It affects how you're going to speak, how you're going to sing, how you're going to rap, and even just interacting with other people. So yeah, that's a big part. But self-love, like I know now, and I'm glad that people are talking about those things more, mental health, self-love, all these things, because it's important and they're real things. But also, you know, having grace for yourself, the people around you. You never know what someone else is going through, right? And like I was saying, you can judge a book by its cover, but at the end of the day, that's why I feel like you said, sometimes you'll hear someone's music, but then when you see them, you're like, oh snap, I didn't pitch you like this when I listened to this.
Right.
But that's because also too, like, it's also, I think, pushing against those boxes that people try and put us into as well. Right? Like, there is no other you. Your experience is your experience. And there will always be people that will resonate with that. As much as people might think, oh, I don't know about this or writing this or that, like, just write it. Because there's always going to be people who resonate with your story and your journey. Whether it's pretty, whether it's gritty, ugly, it's yours to tell if you feel so. You know what I'm saying? And you never know who you can touch or inspire. Like, even while I was here, there was people that came up to me and said, oh, this song or this song. And I was like, that's crazy, because it just reminds you, like you said, sometimes we're just going through the motion, right? You're just grinding. But those moments where you're like, okay, like, I impacted this person's life, same way as the music impacted me when I was a kid. And certain artists or songs was a game changer. Made you be like, damn, like, you know?
There's a couple things I want to mention. I saw Russ in this interview, and he's talking about what you were just talking about, how somebody heard an old song of his, and it's like what I'm doing now with previous episodes, resharing that stuff, right? Just because it's an old song to you, it was a brand new song to that person that was like, yo, that touched my soul. And so you just never know when and how that's going to happen. And so you have to be prepared for that and continually put that stuff out. And the other thing that you mentioned that I want to reiterate that I really loved is just like giving grace to others, but also giving grace to yourself, because we're not perfect. And I've been trying to sit in this myself and really learn and figure this out, because the way that I speak to, if you came to me with a problem and I'm feeling like this, and the kindness that I feel like I want to give back to you, sometimes we forget to give that to ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, like, oh, I didn't follow through with this, I'm such an idiot, and blah blah blah. When you gotta be able to give yourself grace as well, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. This was nice. Thank you. I love this format. Did you like this?
Yeah.
Did you like kind of do it?
I like it.
Maybe
man.
I should give you a stool or something next time. I think we talked a little longer than I thought, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, this was
You already got
dope.
the cameras at this height anyway, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fair. But yeah, I feel so grateful that you came through the booth. I'm glad we got to meet for the short time you're here in Edmonton, representing the East Coast. T-Dot. And wow, Bachelor is fire. The album, make sure you are streaming that shit. Monstar Deluxe is fire. And this remix that she just did live on Behind the Sound is out now, available everywhere. Make sure you stream that as well. I'm just super grateful and honored to be on this dope of a track with you. And thank you, Ice the One. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man. Like, much appreciated. Glad to be here.
Hey.
Dope studio. And I know you've been doing your thing for decades now too, so big salute to you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Well, that's Ice the One, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you saw and what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe. Do all of that stuff. It really does go a long way. I appreciate each and every one of your views that you give on this show. So thank you so much. And that is another episode of Behind the Sound. Peace, y'all. That's good. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
that was dope. That was dope.